Owen, you horny rat bastard, you better have a good explanation for this. Oh, God. It's the infamous scene coming up. I hope you're as prepared for it as I am.
What about Mel?
Interesting.
She'll be safe here.
Okay. I have some thoughts. In a piece, in a piece, in a P word. I'll withhold judgment till the end of the cutscene. Moving on.
Sorry I grew up. You should try it.
Okay. I know I said withholding judgment, but I like that. Because it recontextualizes the two motifs happening from the past couple of Abby flashbacks. Wherein, when Abby and Owen were still together, they were still, jovially, taking the mick out of each other by, sarcastically saying that they hate each other. Then on the second flashback, Owen says something cheeky and a bit rude, and Abby responds more seriously instead of rolling with the joke. And now she's telling him to grow up. And also, again, Owen looking a bit like Abby's dad in the flashback. You know, there's themes happening. I quite like this about the game. You know, well, I like the themes that happen when they do, and if and when they actually have, something to say. Moving on.
Oh yeah, how do I do that, Happy? Should I go find the people that killed my family? Cut into them? I could torture them until they're crying, you know? Abby.
The thoughts are happening, not all of which disgust us. Oh yes, there's gonna have to be some... Oh my. Well, hopefully I don't get flagged for that. Oh boy. Oh my. Okay. Thoughts are being had. Oh shit. Okay, I am going to articulate some of the thoughts, TM. I remember when I first played through this scene, it felt a lot more abrupt than... I guess, again, because I know roughly where large chunks of the plot are going, I guess with me being more prepared for it does make some sense. However, in paying more attention to the performance in that moment, I actually think it was relatively well telegraphed. And also, the fact that the amorous activity is started by Abby being emotionally triggered from doing something horrible, that even though Abby believes she was in the right, she is concerned that other people don't believe she was in the right, like specifically when she was talking to Mel about it earlier on. So that moment of lusty exploration being sandwiched between two moments about or visualizing horrible violence to others is interesting. So, and also combined with the fact that Owen is... Well, I have some thoughts about Owen, not many of them great, you know, because... Mostly because I feel like a lot of my problems with Owen wouldn't exist if Mel didn't exist. You know, like, you could entirely cut out Mel from the story, and although, well, okay, well, not necessarily, because Mel does have to be there for some things, but, you know, that's a whole other can of worms. But, I mean, Owen... You know, having been shown in the past that he gets along with Mel very well, even, but also very clearly has more emotional connection to Abby the entire time, you know, like, it makes him less sympathetic, and that's a little bit unfortunate, because I feel like Owen's, like, genuine feelings for Abby to some degree, genuine feelings towards Abby to some degree is one of the few things about Abby's entire sphere that I like, insofar as things that sympathise her go, because by and large, Owen seems to be a good guy, and his whole deal is that he's slowly, you know, de-radicalising him. Well, not even de-radicalising, because he was always a goofball. And in that sense, you could even make the argument that, oh, Owen was always in touch with his inner child, because even when he was young, he didn't hugely care about the WLF and the scars, and even though he killed a lot of them, he didn't, like, take pleasure in it in the same way as Abby and the others did. And, well, I mean, even Abby didn't take pleasure in it, but she took it more seriously than Owen did, whereas Owen seemed more interested in being away from the fight. So, there's that. And, and again, like, bro, if you're watching, I'm going to repeat this story, from another podcast that I like, just to give more emotional context, for lack of a better word.
The kernel of the story idea for this game or whatever came from a video that he saw of in the year 2000. There is something that was referred to as the Ramallah lynching, which is, to say this as succinctly as possible, two Israeli soldiers accidentally drove into Palestine, were detained at a Palestinian police station. This is all on the West Bank, and a passing group of people broke into the police station and horribly killed those two IDF soldiers. There's video of this. It includes, their heads being bashed in, which is, you know, if you think about The Last of Us 2, you can see the connection. The necessary context for this is the passing crowd was a funeral march for a 17-year-old that the IDF had killed, because in the past 2 weeks, the IDF had killed 100 Palestinians, including 20 minors, as you know, and that is in the long, long history of the IDF killing way, way, way more Palestinians than Palestinians ever kill Israelis. So, you know, and Druckmann sees this as a child, says that he felt incredible anger. He wished that he could, quote, push a button and kill all the Palestinians. And then later says that he felt, immense guilt and disgust at himself for feeling that way. And then he decided to kind of make a game about that.
And then Neil Druckmann, thank God, would go on to walk back that statement a bit and say, okay, I felt very horrible for thinking that, and it is obviously clearly wrong, even though my initial impulse was very bad. That sense of passion and anger made me think, what kind of story could I make out of this? where I could encourage the player to be as irrationally angry as I was, and then attempt to walk them back from that anger to a place of forgiveness. And the politics for that are slightly fucked in some ways, to put it mildly, but it's certainly interesting. Not necessarily entirely good, but definitely interesting. And I bring all of that up to contextualize how, again, Owen being a bit sucky can be good for storytelling reasons, and it can be interesting, but Owen being a cheater is not good or interesting. Or it's not interesting in how it's bad, it's just, it's like ordering a 12-ounce steak, but instead of getting fries on the side, you get, like frozen water tubes instead with, I don't know, tara masalata dip. I'm sorry, I use tara masalata because I personally don't like it very much, despite being Greek. You may execute me now. But yeah, wow. I mean, ladies in G-spots, look forward to the fact that this bit is clearly going to be another 20-30 minutes long highlight of me rambling and waxing poetic about a game that I have complicated thoughts on, so yeah. Okay, before I carry on, is there any, I guess, devil's advocating I can do to say, oh, well, Owen being a bit sleazy and a cheater is actually good as a storytelling thing, because, and again, I'm not saying I fundamentally dislike cheating arcs. I used to watch Greenleaf. One of the big plot points of that show is that one of the characters is in the closet, and as a result ends up doing some questionable things, while being married to a woman, I should say. And then it becomes anyway, that's besides the point. But the point is... Okay, yeah, the point is... I mean, what's a good thing about Owen's, character creation regarding him being like this? I mean, overall, he's interesting in that he may not be a moral paragon like I personally would have wanted Abby to be, but I would say he's a moral innocent in some ways. A moral innocent, relatively speaking, I should say. He was still a soldier for a fascist-leaning group, but he felt bad about it and eventually tried to leave. So, progress. So fair enough. And also, yeah, I guess another point of why Mel as a character isn't very focused on, and why so far it seems to be treating the cheating between Abby and Owen as very not consequential, at least so far, is fucking... I mean, it could be one of those things where, well, Mel gets so little focus that, that Abby shouldn't feel bad for getting with Owen, because clearly they do have a strong and genuine connection, so therefore maybe the player wouldn't care that the pregnant lady is getting shafted in a metaphorical way, as well as physical. To which I say, if that is the case, then that is bad writing, in my humble opinion. If there's some other, but yeah. Again, I will attempt to to keep a lid on my judgmentals until more of the story progresses, especially since there is one conversation with Mel that seemingly implies some discussion of the fact that, hey, Owen seems like a good guy, but also the cheating, that kinda suck. What that about? What it say about Abby too, though? So, when that point comes up, I will be very interested to discuss that too. moving on. I will say this action scene of like Abby going to save Yara and Lev now, you know, after boning down with Owen. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting parallel in that the implication seems to be that Owen is influencing her, or to some degree influencing her to try to be more open-minded and moral, because as a result of Owen admitting that he no longer cares to fight for land that he doesn't care about no more, then it's almost like, oh, well, as a result, everyone else who just comes to their senses will just come to their senses. It's like, okay, interesting. Moving on.
Can I talk to you?
Talk.
Why are you doing this? Look, she just showed up.
Okay.
I don't think she knows about last night.
I don't care about last night.
Well, I do.
Which one?
Oh.
You know our dogs can play cards like that?
I'm 13, not 8.
You're the size of an 8-year-old.
Do other people think you're funny?
No.
Okay. Again, interesting. Well, before I get to my thoughts on that, I'm going to cover some more of my thoughts on Owen. Specifically, he doesn't, you know, like, in this moment where Abby is like, okay, I'm going to uncritically risk my life for these people that I care about for reasons that I can't articulate. And Owen's first thought was, my pregnant wife don't know about my penis and where it's been last night. So, yeah, again, I talked a fat game about Owen not being very tactful or very, like, caring in certain ways. I think that level of abruptness either was deliberately abrupt and meant to make him look like a bit of a dingus, or it was, like, unintentionally televised the way it was. So, fair enough. But yeah. What else? I feel like I was going to say something. Oh yeah. In terms of that interaction with Abby and Lev, again, like, an interesting / good element with what we've been seeing with Owen so far. And also, like, not just Owen, but also to a degree with Ellie and Dina as well. Or Ellie and a lot of her friendships even. Like, they make a lot of, like, you know, like, joking cruelty humour of, like, oh, I hate you. Oh, I hope you fall off a river or something. Yeah, they're like, oh, ha ha, and, like, you know, that. And Lev not particularly finding that funny is an interesting sign of things being more bounce-offable between Abby in a different way, and seeing how things develop, maybe. So, yeah, moving on. Right up the Bertort!